Good morning, world. Today is Monday, September 8th, 2025. This is a sideshow. I'm Theodore Parker, coming to you with the news of the world. Here in Lexington, Kentucky, the weather today, it's just a little bit after sunrise. 7:09. Sunrise is set for 7:14 a.m. The high today will be 76. Have abundant sunshine, highs in the mid-70s and lows in the upper 40s. Strong storms rip through Northeast Saturday. Currently, for running, the weather's good. For cycling, the weather is good. And for gardening, the weather is good. High 70s a day, and the rest of the week will be in the 80s through the weekend. The AQI is good at 19. The UV index right now is low, although it has risen in the afternoon to a high. Humidity is lower than yesterday, 84%. The wind currently is 4 miles per hour. And as I said, sunrise today is 7:14 a.m. and sunset will be 7:56 p.m. In other locations, Hawaii prepares for the worst as Hurricane Kiko approaches. And strong winds and heavy downpours caused game delay. And in Japan, they're experiencing blinding rain and strong winds. So that's current news for this area, Lexington, Kentucky, a little after 7 a.m., Monday, September 8th. So again, I haven't been on the air for about a week now, I guess. And I was just allowing things to percolate, so to speak, because looking at September, the first was on a Monday, so certain businesses were closed. Congress was out during the month of August for their annual month vacation. And then right on top of that, this weekend past, we had Roots and Heritage Festival, which is probably celebrated across the nation. And also week 1 of football. Now, if ever there was a zeros and ones, week 1 is it. And Basketball Hall of Fame inductees, and also the WNBA honors. So school is in, as you know, went back in August, and we are kind of urged to be cautious about things. And one of the things that I want to share with you is more like a PSA than something particular, and it's a video that was put up by
this is like the third year you're 45.
Excuse me, let this commercial play through. ABC News, and I think it's kind of important because it has to do with children and bus stops, especially with so many people in cars. So here we go.
Vehicles narrowly missing children, speeding by school buses with a stop arm out and lights flashing. This car nearly hitting 2 children waiting for the bus in Indiana earlier this year. And as more school districts begin classes across the country, a company called Bus Patrol is using AI-powered cameras on more than 40,000 buses in 22 states to catch vehicle violations. The Lower Merion School District outside Philadelphia is using the cameras this school year.
That stop sign comes out, those cameras start recording.
They took us on a routine bus route to demonstrate how it works, and in just 30 minutes, we saw several possible violations. Okay, so we have the stop sign out. This car ignoring the stop arm as it makes a turn past the bus.
That car that turned should have stopped.
So even across the street, they should have stopped.
Everything stops.
And multiple cars going past the bus on the other side of the road, failing to stop despite the flashing lights and visible stop sign. According to police, once a violation is identified on the camera, the company flags it to the local police department for review. And if they issue a ticket, it's a hefty fine, $300 in Pennsylvania for a first-time violation.
This system allows us to be at every stop for every school bus.
In the nearby Marple Newtown School District, police say they ticketed more than 2,000 drivers ignoring the stop arm since that school district installed the bus patrol cameras at the beginning of the 2024 school year. And the Lower Merion School District is hoping it'll make a difference here.
It's just not worth the chance of hurting a child and having to deal with that pain for the rest of your life.
I mean, it is such promising technology, but you got to remember, even if you're on the opposite side of the road, you have to stop too.
Yeah.
And that's what we saw. All of those drivers we saw, they weren't stopping on that opposite side.
Important reminder, we've got to keep kids safe. Thank you for that, Gio.
So I just wanted to share that with you. All of us have to travel back and forth, especially drivers of vehicles, to be conscious that when a school bus is stopped for children to disembark from the bus and that stop sign is out flashing or the arm is out flashing, even if you're on the other side of the road, you must stop. So I just thought I would put that out there. Going back to roots and heritage, I usually have to check with Google to see how that arrangement is going for the month of September. And it went well in the sense that saved articles, yes. There was a here in Lexington, because I did attend on Saturday, there were plenty of people there, plenty of families with children, police presence obvious as well. But I started in this area, it's on Elm Street and it takes up the whole street. This year, I think there were a lot more vendors present, and the stage, I think, was not that it changed locations, but when I got there in the evening Saturday, the bands were performing. So I just stayed in that area for about 30, 40 minutes, and then it was like, well, you need to go get something from the vendors for food to make that, worth the while. And that was an experience because everybody wants to get something to eat when you're at the Roots and Heritage. So I chose fish this time from a fish vendor. And I waited in line for at least an hour. But because the vending truck had music coming from its speakers, I really couldn't hear what was going on the stage. But it went well, nobody seemed irritated and, talking as usual, greeting people, giving hugs and things of this nature, children traveling back and forth, and so forth and so on. So, from Lexington 18 News, this article about the Roots and Heritage Festival brings culture and community together in Lexington. And I'm sharing this because I understand that it is a nationwide event, so you all probably have similar experiences. Festival weekend was in full swing as the Roots and Heritage Festival Marketplace drew visitors to celebrate culture, community, and education in Lexington. Visitors shopped local and regional vendors, explored cultural items, and connected with community organizations throughout the weekend event. The festival featured plenty of authentic ethnic and soul food for attendees to enjoy. Live entertainment and educational exhibits ran all weekend long, creating a celebration where memories were made and education was at the forefront. We learn something from the people we interact with, and we hope they learn something from us, said Mara Chambers with the Bluegrass Medical Society. And so we were just talking how we enjoy interacting with the public and just giving them a little bit of information about healthcare and health-related issues. And when we do something like this, we learn from them, and hopefully again they learn from us. The festival took place over Saturday and Sunday. So that's just a short article acknowledging Roots and Heritage Festival, month of September. And like I said, it's nationwide, so hopefully all your experiences were similar. As I had mentioned, Congress has been out for a month, and I guess they would say it was a well-deserved break. And I would not say anything too much against that. But what Congress has done in these, since they've been back over the past week, is something that we can take a look at. And this is coming again from WLKY News. A look at what happened in the U.S. government this week. This is also a video, but I'm not going to play the video so we don't have any conflicts of interest here. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. faced off with lawmakers on Capitol Hill, and an underwhelming jobs report was released. President Donald Trump renamed the Department of Defense, the Department of War. Survivors of Jeffrey Epstein abuse and bipartisan group of lawmakers are pushing for the release of all the files related to the case. Homeland Security announced one of its largest ICE raids, and a federal judge overturned Trump's funding cuts to Harvard. Here are the top stories involving the U.S. government this past week. RFK Jr. grilled by senators. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. faced intense scrutiny from senators during a Capitol hearing over his controversial changes to the CDC. Excuse me. More than 1,000 current and former employees of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services wrote a letter to Kennedy arguing that his leadership has put the health of all Americans at risk, demanding his resignation. Kennedy is preparing to appoint as many as 7 new members to an influential vaccine advisory panel at the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. As federal health leaders debate the science over what's best for American health, some states are crafting their own health laws. Disappointing job reports. The U.S. labor market is showing signs of cooling, with only 22,000 positions added last month, far below expectations, and the unemployment rate climbing to 4.3%, the highest level since the pandemic. Stocks wobbled on Friday as Wall Street wrangled with whether the job market is too weak. The poor jobs report is fueling expectations that rate cuts from the Federal Reserve could be coming soon. In other news, President Donald Trump signed an executive order to rename the Department of Defense to the Department of War. Citing a more fitting representation of the department's attitude. Survivors of Jeffrey Epstein's abuse and a bipartisan group of lawmakers are pushing for a discharge petition, forcing a House floor vote to release nearly everything related to the case. A multi-agency immigration raid at the Hyundai Meta plant site in Georgia led to the apprehension of 475 people, the Homeland Security Investigations officials said Friday. A federal judge on Wednesday ordered the reversal of the Trump administration's cuts to more than $2.6 billion in funding for research grants for Harvard University. On that note, a group of federal judges have made it known that it's frustrating to them that for them to rule against certain things that Trump is trying to put forward and then have the Supreme Court reverse their decision and allow it. So they have spoken up on that issue. The Department of Justice is probing the mortgage fraud claims against Lisa Cook of the Federal Reserve. The U.S. military has intensified its efforts against cartels with a strike on an alleged drug boat linked to a Venezuelan gang, resulting in 11 deaths. A federal appeals court ruled Trump cannot use the Alien Enemies Act to deport alleged members of a Venezuelan gang. So those are a few of the highlights. There also is video with that article if you want to look at it for yourself. And that brings us to week 1 of the NFL. Like I said, 0s and 1s. Hopefully your favorite team did win. But as things go, we did have a spitting incident. So, it seems that someone spat on someone, and as information continued to flow, it seems that the person who was spit on had spit before the incident. So, zoom forward, or move forward, fast forward. Now we're talking about punishment. And as it is, this is not the first time a spitting incident has occurred. So, usually, or what has happened in the past, has been a 2-game suspension. But because this was so early, the game had not even started, and this incident occurred. So the person that allegedly spit on the other player was kicked out of the game. And that would mean 1 game and then 2 games. And we're talking about fines and other things from that. So, like I said, this is not the first incident for spitting in the NFL. So we'll see how this plays out this time. And right after that, games of football had been played. MTV Awards. And as I channel surfed and came up on the MTV Awards, who was on the screen and on stage but Busta Rhymes. And it seemed that the red outfits was for everybody that was on stage. And looking at Busta Rhymes now and thinking about, let's say, his character in Shaft. Yes, time does change things. So speaking of that, we're back to the summer and our appearance. And there was an article, since from time to time I remind people that we do want to be healthy, we do want to have a proper balance on our food and things of this nature, diet and exercise. I ran across this one, and it has to do with the food pyramid. All of us are familiar with it. It lists whether it's carbohydrates, fruits and vegetables, meats, and how we should proportion them out. So I thought I would share this with you. The food pyramid big lie. How flawed science fed America a toxic diet. So here we go. It's from Blaze News, dated September 6, 2025. The Claremont Institute's Glenn Elmers exposes the misguided science behind America's dietary disaster. We all remember the famous food guide pyramid developed in the 1990s that supposedly captures what a healthy diet looks like. Excuse me. The base of the model is made up of grains, followed by vegetables, fruits, dairy, proteins, and topped by a small section for fats and sweets. It was a helpful tool that guided Americans in cultivating a healthy lifestyle for themselves and their families. Except it wasn't, because the model is fundamentally flawed. On a recent episode of Blaze News, the Mandate Blaze media editor-in-chief Matthew Peterson sat down with Claremont Institute Salvatore Research Fellow Glenn Elmers to dive into the lies behind the government's health advice. There's also a video with this, but I will just read the written word. Around the middle of the 20th century, you started to see what were called diseases of civilization. We started seeing obesity and diabetes and coronary heart disease and all the things that go with the modern lifestyle, Elmer says. The problem was our scientific experts identified the wrong culprit. They thought that the problem was the foods that people have been eating for thousands of years. This led to foods like eggs, butter, and meat being vilified, hence their small category on the food pyramid. Instead, experts pushed for making carbohydrates, especially highly processed ones like breads, pasta, and cereal, the largest staple in people's diets. The idea that foods refined by men are superior to foods from the earth is rooted in the prideful assumption that science supersedes and even controls nature, Elmers explains. Even though the USDA has abandoned the food pyramid for a new graphic called My Plate, which emphasizes balanced meals with roughly equal portions of vegetables, fruits, grains, and proteins, plus a small dairy portion, it still hasn't fixed the problem, Elmer says. Sadly, this obsession with science over nature impacts more than just what food is elevated. It also heavily influences other lifestyle factors. Instead of sunshine, exercise, and whole foods, experts push medications to fix people's problems. I have friends on the right who try to eat healthy, get out, exercise, work out, get sunshine, run around in the grass barefoot. Then I know a lot of friends who are deeply unhappy on all kinds of prescribed medication, not physically fit, and they think that science can solve their problems, Elmer says. Has modern society really made people happy? We have loneliness. We have drug addiction. We have people taking all kinds of medications to solve their problems. People are still too sedentary. People are in their homes ordering fast food, addicted to video games and internet porn. In my experience, the people who can unplug detach themselves from the screen, go out and run on the beach, eat a steak and an orange, are actually a lot happier. So I'm not at all persuaded that the promise of science, that the conquest of nature will lead to our happiness and our liberation. So the video has the full interview on it, and this is from Blaze News, like I said, but I just thought that we kind of put that out there because we all struggle with something. None of us are perfect, and we like to be informed. And as I said, diet and exercise, and whenever there is a new fact presented, especially in areas of law, technology, and food, these things change every couple of years or advance every couple of years. And the biggest thing has been in the way food is preserved, which allows us more variety in our diet. I suggested early on when I was emphasizing to people before the summer to kind of get ready. A couple of things you could do when you go into the market is pick something you have not eaten before, even if you have to Google the recipe on how to prepare it. Also, to buy an outfit that is one size smaller if it is your goal to lose weight than the size you are currently wearing. Put it in a closet, keep trying it on until it fits. So, the food pyramid, new information. And just for conversation purposes, my plate is a good example of that. You probably can Google it. Most people kind of hesitate when it comes to weights and measurements, especially when you go out and their portions seem to be more than what you have, and especially buffets, all you can eat and things of this nature. When it comes to meats, 4 ounces is a standard serving for meat, and it usually comes already portioned in the package. If you read the label for any other products, canned goods, frozen goods, or any things of that nature, it will tell you how many servings are in the package. So you can just about judge that by eye. If it says 3, 2, 1, or if the whole thing is a serving, then you can go from there. That's just short rules of thumb that you might take advantage of. Okay, thought I would talk about the Basketball Hall of Fame. Lakers video, Dwight Howard, Carmelo Anthony, and 2025 class receive Hall of Fame jackets. Excuse me. So, September 5th, in Newcastleville, Connecticut, Deron Williams, Tayshaun Prince, Dwight Howard, Michael Reed, Carmelo Anthony, and Carlos Boozer posed for portraits during 2025 Hall of Fame tip-off celebration and awards gala as part of the 2025 Basketball Hall of Fame enshrinement ceremony on September 5th, 2025 in Mohegan Sun in Newcastleville, Connecticut. The 2025 Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame class is officially being inducted this weekend, and there are some members of the Los Angeles Lakers family involved. NBA legends Dwight Howard and Carmelo Anthony both wrapped up their Hall of Fame careers wearing the purple and gold. Howard won a championship with the team in 2019-20 and 2020, and then returned for a third stint in 2021-2022 when he was joined by Anthony. While that season didn't go as planned, there still is a lot of love in LA for both Howard and Anthony, making this a special weekend as they get inducted into the Hall of Fame. Festivities kick off on Friday night when Howard Anthony, the 2008 Redeem Team, and the rest of the 2025 Hall of Fame class received their orange jackets. This is kind of a nice article coming out of LakersNation.com. Plenty of videos if you are interested in something like that. So I just thought I would mention it. On the other side of the coin, we have the WNBA. Excuse me. And what's been going on with them. As you know, there is conversation around the difference, number one, in the salary that the women receive in the WNBA compared to what the men receive in the NBA. And prior to sanctions and the war between Russia and Ukraine, then WNBA players were going outside the United States and playing for other teams to supplement that salary. So this article kind of dips back a little bit, and it's under She Got Game. 11 goals, 10 titles, and 1 legendary Hall of Fame class. Hey, hoop it. We love how unpredictable this league can be, right? And not just talking on the court, though yes, that too. Off the court, the twists keep piling up. A player we once pegged as the face of a franchise suddenly finds her future hanging in the balance. So, if for no other reason than the names that keep popping up with the WNBA, most recently because of rookie seasons being involved, you have Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. So most recently, Caitlin Clark was out on an injury, and more recently, Angel Reese suffered a suspension. So that's the latest news. So here we are, back to the article. Meanwhile, a new franchise that was supposed to just find its footing has done the unthinkable. Not to forget, alongside stars shining bright this week was also about honoring the past. A past that we etched into history walls forever. The Mercury's new era is here. For over 2 decades, Valley couldn't picture a Phoenix Mercury team without Diana Taurasi and Brittany Griner. Yet here they were saying goodbye to both in the same year. Naturally, questions swirled, doubts too. What would Mercury basketball even look like? And Diana Taurasi does have a documentary film out on the streaming platforms. What would Mercury basketball even look like? Well, the front office had an answer, a new big three. They brought in Saltel Sabali and Alyssa Thomas, and the only core returner, Kalia Cooper, and I hope I'm pronouncing everybody's name correctly. And suddenly fans had hope. Only didn't know it would take weeks before the three even shared the floor together. Still, at no point did this Mercury team feel like a franchise in transition. When Cooper sat due to injury, Sabali and Thomas kept things steady. Then as Sabali sat, Cooper returned with AT, still holding the pulse of the team. By mid-July, another familiar face joined in, Dawana Bonner. She arrived during a rough patch, 5 losses in 6 games, so the present became instrumental. It hasn't just been about the stars either. Rookies Lexi Hale and Monica Akomakani and veteran guard Sammy Whitcomb have had their moments. But if we have to be honest, it's been the AT show. Thomas hasn't just been consistent, she's been massive. One jaw-dropping stat shows just how much this team leans on her. This might make you blink twice. And while we have spent plenty of time talking about the stars, none of this happens without Coach Nate Tibbetts. In just his second year, he's taken a team in flux and turned it into a contender. If we're talking MVPs on the court, We also got a Coach of the Year case brewing on the sidelines. Now with their 27th win over the Mystics, the Mercury are 27-14. It's all about that fight for the number 2 seed. So all in all, the Valley may have closed the Tarasi Grinner era, but the new chapter is looking golden. So I just thought I would share that on behalf of the WNBA. So we have the holidays coming up. We're here in September. I know this seems like a rush thing, but remind you that summer's not over until the 22nd of this month. And this week here in this area, the temperatures after today will be up in the 80s through the weekend. So October, get your scare in. November, gather family and friends. December, let the kids celebrate if they've been good, naughty, or nice. And then it's a new year. So this all involves relationships. So I found this one on Core's Digest, which is another one of my little go-to ones. So I thought I would share it with you. And it's about the perspective of men and women in their relationships, especially sex and conversation. So let me pull it up for you. And it's not the dark side of female psychology. That's not it. And I thought about this in the context that when men and women have conversations, sometimes men are accused of not paying attention to what the woman is saying. And then men will say, well, the topic has changed in the conversation at least 4 times. Which one of those topics do you want me to comment on? That being said, with a sense of humor, here we go. After sex, men want to sleep and women want to talk. Men express their strongest feelings. And again, this is from Quora Digest. After sex, men want to sleep and women want to talk. Men express their strongest feelings through the art of making love. According to a survey, men can listen to their male friends, and this is really what made me even bring the thing to you. According to a survey, men can listen to their male friends for ages, but they can only listen to their girlfriend or wife for 6 minutes. Sorry about that. I just saw a lot of humor in that one. Most men love women with thicker and longer hair. According to psychological facts of the male study, males wearing shirts look more attractive than ones wearing t-shirts. Fellas? Men hate asking for help most of the time and will avoid taking any help until they feel they can't do it by themselves. Men don't like comparisons. They hate if any female will compare them to other males. Men are physically strong but emotionally weak compared to women. And the last one, thanks for reading. And to kind of take some of the sting, as you would say, off of that, I also found this one. As you know, I have been offering the Sideshow cups. They're still available if anybody's interested, but I'm not sure how you would arrange the contact for that. But, excuse me, here is one I don't know how much you can read. It says, in case I don't say it enough, holidays are coming. We all like to express our appreciation for things done for us. Here's a mug to remind you. You're sexy. I appreciate you. I believe in you. I'm proud of you. I love you. And then there's space for two names. In this case, it's William and Jasmine. So that's what it looks like. That's number one view, 7 slides. Here's another, again, I don't know how that reflection is working. Here's another one. Okay. And 15 ounce and 11 ounce. There's a little bit of humor on that. Another one, view of it. And in a different color. And I believe you can order, I think the reason that I'm bringing this to you is because the couples that are displayed, you can order a skin tone for it. So you can either have a white couple or a couple of color. So far be it from me to go against a good thing. I think it's a good idea. So there you have it. And you can find this, let me see. It's called In Case I Don't Say It Enough Couples, and delivery in the United States. I guess that's a .com thing, 11 ounce and 15 ounce. Choose a man's skin color, choose a woman's skin color, and customize the name. Well, folks, this is Monday, September 8th, 2025. This is a sideshow. I'm Theodore Parker. That's it. Hashtag